testify after Mr. Driggers is of course, a highway patrolman. He was instructed, like all witnesses in this case, laypersons in law enforcement, that they are not to watch or read news articles or watch online. He's told Ms. Nowak this morning that he did accidentally click on a YouTube. I guess he said that he couldn't tell what courtroom it was going to. The portion he saw, he said, was brief, and it was as Your Honor was instructing Kevin Arnold, who testified yesterday, giving him his exit instructions, and then he said he immediately turned it off. He told me about it. I made sure Mr. Davis was there when he proffered that as well, and we wanted to bring that to your attention.
All right, Mr. Davis, I'm going to let you respond. My thought right now is before Mr. Maloney talks in front of the jury, we may take him to the back room real quick, put him under oath, and see what he saw and didn't see. Anything that you want to say before we deal with that issue a little bit later today?
No, Your Honor. I had a chance to also speak with the trooper. It doesn't sound like he saw anything substantive, but I think the court should probably do that just so the court's mind can rest easy on that.
Yeah, we'll step back there for 5 minutes and preserve that record. Is he here right now?
Yes, he is.
Let's go ahead and bring him in.
He's in the witness prep room.
Yeah, just stand right there in front of me is fine. Come on up, sir. Thank you. Sir, will you raise your right hand for me? You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can put your hand on. Tell me your name, sir.
Christopher Maloney.
And Mr. Maloney, can you tell me your title with the Florida Highway Patrol?
I'm a state trooper.
Okay. Mr. Maloney, it has come to the court's attention that you may have watched a portion of this trial. Can you go ahead and tell the court the entirety of what you saw?
I saw the brief end of Kevin Arnold's speech, sir, and then you addressing him not to speak with any witnesses. And once I saw that, I clicked out of the...
Were you instructed, sir, not to watch any of this trial by the state attorney's office?
Yes, sir.
How did it come about that you were watching the trial, sir?
I clicked on the Goodman. It said felony court. I clicked on it on YouTube, sir.
Okay. Do you remember what you heard Kevin Arnold say?
No, sir.
Okay. Any specific testimony that you recall from Kevin Arnold?
Only thing I recall is something about dispatch, sir, and then you addressing him not to speak with a witness, and then that's when I exited that.
Okay. Estimate the amount of time that you saw Mr. Arnold testify.
Approximately maybe 30 seconds, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Maloney. I'll let you step out now, and I'm going to talk with counsel. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Thank you.
I'm just looking at my notes from Mr. Arnold's testimony yesterday. My remembering of Mr. Arnold's testimony, it lasted from about 11 to 11:10. He was our third witness. His main discussion was the defendant's assignment to the patrol unit in Jackson County and how that came about. He also, I think, briefly referred to certain policies and procedures. Anything, Mr. Williams, that you want to say in supplementation of what I just heard from State Trooper Maloney?
Mr. Maloney's anticipated testimony at this trial would be very similar to that which we just heard from Sergeant Carter,
Yep.
and that he was backup.
Mr. Davis, do you have any objection you want to put on the record to Maloney testifying in this case? All right. I've asked Maloney the extent of what he saw and heard. Two things I'll note. It sounded like it was the last 30 to 45 seconds of Arnold's testimony. The court's reviewed its notes on Kevin Arnold's testimony and believes nothing that was discussed by Mr. Arnold would prejudice or improperly prejudice the defendant in this case, specifically the references that Mr. Arnold made why he testified. I can't see any correlation to what I anticipate the testimony of Mr. Maloney is going to be, and thus there's not really an overlap of anything that I can remember that Mr. Arnold said that may impact Mr. Maloney's testimony. If something pops up during Mr. Maloney's testimony that I recall or believe is prejudice, I'll sidebar and we'll readdress it. But as of right now, I'm going to allow Mr. Maloney to testify, and our record has been preserved as to the reasons why I'm going to allow that to happen. Anything else, Mr. Williams, before we bring the jury back in?
One other matter, if I could approach.
Yes, sir.
I'm approaching with a case that I've provided here at this break to Mr. Davis as well. It is Jenkins v. State, 189 Southern 3rd, 866.
Okay.
Fourth PCA case from 2016. I'm presenting this case to the defense in the court as I believe it allows for potential testimony from other listed victims. Two of them, Ms. Wood and Mr. Day, have testified already. They've been asked by myself and Mr. Davis about entering pleas to resolve their cases. I believe that any question asking whether or not a lawyer advised them to do it, or them testifying that a lawyer advised them to do it, would be used for something other than truth of matter asserted. It's truth is irrelevant. It's really the effect on the listener being the testifying witness. So in other words, I believe that this case of Jenkins v. State is relatively on point. It is not an attorney, I'll tell you that, in Jenkins. It was an employee at a defendant's workplace who advised a defendant against, well, not against, but believing that they were not required to register as a sex offender. And the effect that it had on the listener was that which was thought to be used in the Jenkins trial. And here the court found that that was a reason other than truth of the matter asserted that should have been allowed. Likewise, in this case, I believe that that testimony, if it's answered that way, well, am my attorney advised that I do it? It's clearly not for truth of the matter asserted. I will not make any such argument if the court did allow it. It would just be what's in their state of mind and what effect it had on that testifying witness in entering that plea. That's all.
Anything, Mr. Davis?
Judge, I had a chance to review the case law presented by Mr. Williams. I have not had a chance to do any other research in the last 5 to 10 minutes since I received it. Obviously, I thought it was hearsay. That's why I made the objection. I can see if I can do any research on the other side in the meantime, or I can email somebody in my office to try to look up some things for me. But at this point, I don't really have an argument against this case law because I haven't researched the issue further.
I'll take a look at it, Mr. Williams, and you can proceed with your questioning. Mr. Davis, if you want to make your objection, you can make it. I'm not making any ruling into Mr. Davis, any limitations on cross-examination you may have, if indeed I allow them to talk about conversations they had with another attorney in another case. That may open the door to something you want to walk through, and I'm not making any pre-rulings on that. I may let you walk through that door if it is indeed open based on the nature of the questioning. But if the state wants to ask that question, I'll be glad to reconsider it at the appropriate time. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and bring the jury back in.
All rise.
All right, thank you. Come to rest. State, who would you like to call next?
Richard Driggers.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in Richard Driggers. Mr. Driggers, you raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to deliver will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Driggers, a couple things before we get started. That's your jury out there, so that's who you're speaking to today. Make sure you speak loud enough that everybody can hear you, okay, sir? Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Second thing is if you hear an objection, pause your testimony, let me listen to what the objection is, and I'll tell you how to proceed, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Williams?
Good morning. Would you state your name for the record?
Richard Driggers.
Mr. Driggers, do you live here in this area in Jackson County?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall getting pulled over by a sheriff's deputy
Yes,
on
sir.
the evening of February 9th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
And where were you coming from and where were you going to?
I was coming from work and going home.
Was there anybody else in the car with you?
No, sir.
The car that you were in, who did that belong to?
Me.
How often did you drive it?
Every day.
At that time in February of 2018, was there anybody else who was regularly riding in it?
No, sir.
You're married, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your wife has some health problems, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did she ride in the car regularly?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you tell us how it was you first realized you were getting pulled over and what you did?
I happened to look back and I seen lights. They were quite a bit away from me or whatever. So I pulled over and I was thinking they was going to go around me or whatever, but he pulled up behind me. And that's how it started.
All right. And did that deputy make contact with you and tell you the reason for him stopping you?
Yes, sir.
What did he tell you the reason was?
My headlight.
Okay. Do you know if there were problems with your headlights at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what was that?
It had rain and my the glass part over the bulb or whatever, when it rained, it busted it out. So it had just got done raining or whatever, and it busted it. And I was aware it was broken.
Well, Judge, at this time, I would move to publish State's Exhibit 6F, as in Frank, a disc of a body camera video from this, from Mr. Driggers.
You may publish it.
Okay, specifically, there are two files on this disc. The first one that we're publishing at this time is titled Traffic Stop.
Does the court need to read any instruction on this disc, sir?
No.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Driggers, before Mrs. Bittner starts this video, are you able to see that on the screen in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Bittner, could you start the video, please?
2554, 1050 Florida. Florida's 6 Sierra 3 Juliet Papa. Be on a silver in color Chevy sedan. Be at St. Philip's Road and Highway 2. The Sierra may be a 5. Hey man, how's it going? Hey, Deputy Westwood Sheriff's Office. Oh my goodness. Reason for my stop is you only have one headlight, sir. Were you aware of that?
Yes, sir. I just ain't had the money to fix it.
Okay.
I had put another bulb in it, but
Yes,
it got
sir.
some busted lens. When it rained the last time, it busted it back out.
Okay, all right. And you live on Klondike still?
No, sir. I live on 5800 Perry View.
Perry View? Okay. All right, just hang tight, man. Channel.
Possible hot file hit.
$25.54 to 27.
Sorry.
Delta 626 741 791020 1048.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
1054, 1049, driver class D acres.
Timothy.
Second video on that disc. It's labeled DSC only.
Any instruction on this one, sir?
No, Judge.
You may publish it.
Out of town that last time?
No, sir. Probably a couple of years. I usually help them with that when the peanut mill opens up. I work up there and
Oh,
I
okay.
don't work at the store then. Whenever I get done, I'll come back and help.
I mean, sure, nothing. This is a little bit of paraphernalia. I ain't worried about that.
Oh, I didn't know that was you.
Okay.
But that's all there is. So
Okay. That's all
I didn't know that.
I'm gonna find then.
Yeah, sir.
Now, Mr. Driggers, at this point, we see that you are out of the car, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us how you got to how that came to be. You got out of the car.
He came back and asked me if he could search my car because he smoked marijuana,
Okay.
and I told him he could.
You told him that he could.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you this: was there any marijuana in the car?
They found a little container that had previously had some in it, but it wasn't the actual marijuana in the car.
Okay. Well, had you been smoking marijuana in the car before this stop?
It was like a month before.
Okay. You said there was a container that there was some marijuana in, that there was some in there, correct?
There wasn't. There was like residue in there.
Residue.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you tell him about that?
No, sir. I had forgot all about it because, like I said, it was a month ago before I had anything in there like that.
Had you been smoking cigarettes in the car?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Kind of like a cigarette.
Okay. And just to be clear, did you argue with him in any way before you got out of the car and he started a search?
I just told them, asked them why every time they pulled me over, why they want to search me for every time.
Okay.
But other than that, it wasn't nothing.
Okay. Now, while he was searching your car, do you remain in this area that we see here on the camera, or are you ever back at your car watching him search it right next to him?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms.
I
Bittner, could you,
stayed
I'm sorry?
stayed in the same spot.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Bittner, could you resume the video, please?
Or 10-4 Jack. Or 10-4 Jack.
45, 1074.
We're 10-4 Jackson, signal 77. $25.45. We're 10-4.
1026, 25, 70, 1074. 10-4. 20.
Ms. Bittner, could you pause it again briefly? Mr. Driggers, a moment ago when this video started, we see the deputy who's performing the search of your car asking you about what he's found in the car and asked if he's going to find anything else, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and clearly there's a second deputy on scene as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall at what point that second deputy arrived on scene? Was he there at the time you got pulled over?
I think by the time I got out the car and everything, he was there.
And the defendant, I'm sorry, the deputy who's performing the search of your car is asking you about something that he's already found in that car, that marijuana, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had he already been in your car and started his search?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. He's asking you about that, correct, at the beginning of this video?
Yes, sir.
And that was in your car you discovered, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Bittner, could you resume the video? Not gonna find anything else.
I don't know what that even means. That's not mine.
Methamphetamine?
No, sir. I swear,
Cocaine?
no, sir.
Okay.
That's not even mine. I don't know where that came from.
Possibly.
I don't have a needle mark.
What is it that he just showed you, Mr.
A
Driggers?
needle that had foil wrapped around it.
All right, and we heard what you said. Just to be clear, what was your reaction?
Shocked and nervous, trying to figure out what was going on.
Was there anything like that in your car?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Bittner, could you rewind about 10 seconds and resume? All right, go ahead and resume the video, please.
Methamphetamine?
No, sir. I swear,
Cocaine?
no, sir.
Okay.
That's not even mine. I don't know where that came from. I don't have needle marks on me. I don't use needles. Somebody even rides in my vehicle with me.
2546 Jet. Right. The student has been turned over to Adam.
I promise that needle was not mine.
I'm not going to ask you any direct questions yet. Okay, I do want to read you your rights for asking you any direct questions. I can ask you this: if you had anybody else riding the vehicle with you that maybe uses
This is my
methamphetamine,
wife,
bug?
and she don't use it. And I had to pick up somebody a while back. But
Okay,
that's pretty far.
Mr. Driggers, how long do you remember how long it had been since somebody else had been in that car with you?
Probably a month.
Could you please resume the video?
We're status 10, Jackson. Just hang out right there, man. You good, man? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it test?
Yeah.
If I knew that thing there, if I remember it wasn't, I would have gave it to you from the get-go.
I mean, just because I'm reading you rights, okay? It's just a formality that we do, okay?
Yes.
What the state of Florida requires me to do. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him or her present during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you so desire. If you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you still have the absolute right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering questions at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand each of those rights I've explained to you?
Yes.
Tonight, have you requested myself or Deputy Maloney to talk to a lawyer? Yet. Have you yet?
No.
Okay. All right. Having the rights of mind, do you wish to talk to us now about what
I guess.
it's yes or no? I can't
yes,
go by.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
I want to cooperate with y'all.
Okay. All right.
I didn't have no idea that was even
Okay.
in there, sir. That's not even mine.
Man, I told you the reason for my stop.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Came back. Told you I smelled a little bit of odor of marijuana. You told me that you smoked in there in the past,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Then you made the statement that you could go ahead and search it. It's fine.
Yes, sir.
So you gave me consent to search
Yes,
the vehicle. When I looked under the radio compartment area, I found a little glass
Yes, sir.
thing with black top,
Yes, sir.
a little bit of
would've
marijuana
gave it to
residue.
you.
I'll be honest with you, that's not something really,
Yes, sir.
really, that concerning. Open up the center console, okay? You had a couple pieces of paper on top. Under those pieces of paper was a syringe with a white substance in it wrapped in tinfoil. Inside of the tinfoil was a little plastic bag with a crystallized substance in it that did field test presumptive positive for methamphetamine.
It's not mine, sir. I
Okay.
swear to God, it's not mine. I don't even do meth.
Whose is it?
I don't have
Is
no
what I
idea.
need to figure out.
Yes, sir. Maybe somebody I picked up or something. I don't know, but I don't
Okay.
know how they got it in my conscience.
Okay, all right.
I know you ain't gonna believe that. But
Well,
that's the truth.
look, I'll tell you like I tell everybody, man, I have no
Yes, sir.
reason to not believe you. You've not given me a reason yet, okay? I
Yes,
really
sir.
think you forgot about the little glass vial. That's
Yes, sir.
fine. But I got to figure out why you had the loaded syringe and the
Loaded?
methamphetamine. Yeah, you know what that means when it's loaded?
It means he has stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, but it's not mine, I promise you.
Okay.
It's not mine.
All right. The needle's still attached to it and everything. So, and obviously I'm asking you these direct questions because you've been read your Miranda rights.
Yes, sir.
You don't have any idea whose
No,
stuff it
sir.
could be?
No,
You
sir.
got
I
a
don't
clue?
even hang around with people like that. I just go to work and come home. Man.
Okay. Man, you ever been arrested for anything before? You on probation or anything?
No, sir.
You on probation? Okay. Do you hang around anybody that uses methamphetamine?
No, sir.
You don't hang around anybody that uses meth? Okay.
I promise I don't. I go home and I go to work. That's all I do. I don't have no idea how that even got in my car.
Okay. Besides the little glass vial, okay, and the syringe, and like I said, you've not given me a reason to think you're lying, okay, except for this syringe, a little bit of methamphetamine. Did I miss anything in the vehicle? You've not
No,
got
sir.
anything
No,
under
sir.
the hood, nothing
No,
like
sir.
that, under the
No, sir.
wheels, nothing like that?
No, sir.
Okay. When's the last time you smoked marijuana in the car?
A couple of days
A
ago.
couple of days ago. Okay. And you've never used methamphetamine?
I have in the past, but that's been a long time ago. I don't even mess with that stuff anymore.
Man, do you mind pulling your jacket sleeves up for me?
Yes, sir.
Here, I'll hold the dog and help me too.
I don't use.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, man, I don't see any
promise
track marks or anything.
I promise you, I don't use.
Okay.
I don't know how they even got in my car, sir. I promise
Oh,
you.
okay. All right, man.
I already lost my kids and all because
Here.
of stuff in the past. I don't mess with that
Right.
stuff no more.
Right. How old are your kids, man?
16, 15, and a couple younger ones, 8 and 9.
Man, how long you been working? Here, just step up. You can hold on to your dog, bud. That's fine. I ain't good. We'll make sure I haven't missed anything on
Yes,
there.
sir. I know you don't believe me, but I promise
Buddy, look.
that's not mine, man.
Look, man. We deal with this a lot, okay? I'm just going to be straightforward with you where I'm at from my standpoint, okay?
Yes,
I can't say, yeah, he's not using methamphetamine. No, he's not using methamphetamine. I don't know you.
I mean, I even take a drug test.
right.
Man. That's the only thing that's up
I've
to
never
THC.
dealt with you before. I've never dealt with you on the traffic stop on the call, so I don't know you. I don't know what your past is like. But the issue I run into, though, is whenever I search the vehicle and I find that's a felony charge in the state of Florida, okay?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's one little, I'm going to say that's probably about a half a gram, maybe a little bit more of a half a gram of crystal methamphetamine. So you are going to jail tonight
Yes,
for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia, okay?
It's not mine, man.
But I'm willing to help you out on a couple things, though.
Yes, sir.
Do you have somebody that can come pick your car up and pick your dog up? Because if not, I'm about to tow your car and I'm about to get animal control to take possession of your dog.
Let me call my father-in-law, if that'd be okay?
Where is he at? Where does he
In Grand
live?
Ridge.
In Grand Ridge?
I mean, that's all the only person I have.
I would be willing to wait for him to get here. Okay, so here, we can walk up here. Who's your father-in-law?
I mean, I know Trevor Lee.
Right.
He knows I don't even do anything.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah, you good, man.
I'm fucking nervous, man.
I can imagine. Did you get my Miranda time? Is that what you was writing down?
Yeah.
What's my Miranda time?
6:51.
Okay.
Or 6:50 is when you started reading
Okay.
it.
2554.
You go put in the CAD notes. My Miranda time was 6:50.
Hey, John. I just got pulled over and they found stuff in my car it's not mine, but I need somebody to come get my car, and I got my dog with me, and just take it to the house. They're gonna lock me up for a felony charge. Off of Highway 2. I mean, on Highway 2, like almost to Camel 2.
Close to St. Philip's Road, in between St. Philip's and Christmas.
In between St. Philip's and Christmas Road?
Yep.
And they said if you don't, they're going to impound my car and call the dog pound to come get my dog. I can't even, John, I don't know what to do about Desiree. I mean, they found a needle in my car here, and I don't even use the needle. And I know you don't believe me either. I mean, yes, sir. I know because your wife is sick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just know if it gets impounded, I'm not going to even have the money to even get my car back out. That's another thing. I ain't even got any money to even buy stuff like that anyways. I'm already living over $25 a day. I mean, and that's buying my cigarettes and food and gas to go back and forth to work. I mean, this is the first time I've been in jail for nothing. I ain't even done nothing. Okay. Yes, I know. I hate to even call you, but you're the only person I know that. He said he can come get it, but it'll be a while. I mean, could it be all right if you just leave it here?
Not with the dog in there, man.
He said it ain't gonna be all right to leave it here without with the dog in there.
The dog wasn't in there, it's possible, but.
I shouldn't even brought her, but she was in that house all the time. She wanted to go with me, so I let her ride with me.
I just called animal control for the dog and let that sit there so you can come pick the car up. What you think?
Yeah, I'm not even believing this.
That's up to you, man. I don't know. I ain't never left one on the side of the road.
I knew.
Can you talk to him? He'll say he'll be here in a couple hours to get it, sir. If you just...
That's what man was just talking about, man. I wouldn't.
The liability if someone hits.
Here's the thing.
Yes,
if I leave this car sitting here,
the dog in there, yes,
well, not even the dog, but if somebody comes and they hit this car,
yes, sir.
It's on us.
it's on me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's on me and my certification. And then if somebody steals your car, it's on me, buddy. It just doesn't. It don't work like that, man.
Where's your wife? Is she not? Is this
My
only?
wife can't drive. She's not even none of these
Oh, okay.
staples.
Okay.
That's why I was just telling my father-in-law.
Right.
I don't know what I'm even going to do about my wife. I don't even. She's bipolar. She can't take care of her. She can't cook.
Do y'all live right there on that trailer on Prairie View?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't do nothing.
She's the one that be fighting all the time out there acting crazy?
She's just acting crazy. She ain't fighting with nobody. I mean, she just trips out. I mean, that's not.
Is Deputy Lee's? Is that Deputy Lee's relative's property?
Yes, sir. It's
okay.
his father or grandfather. That's what I'm saying. I know,
I've been out there a couple times.
He knows I don't do anything. I mean, I just go home and come to work.
You mind standing by with him for just a minute?
Yeah.
I don't know how that thing got in my car. Yes, sir. They ain't gonna look at prints or nothing, probably, John. It's not mine, dude. I swear to God, it's not mine. I know you do, John. I mean, when I did meth, I just smoked it. I never even shot it up. And that's been, I've been up here.
All right, Mr. Driggers, you make reference to you a couple times here on this video to using meth in the past, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you admitted to that to this
Yes,
deputy,
sir.
right?
Yes,
how,
sir.
How long ago was it before this stop that you were done using?
6 or 7 years.
All right, could you resume the video, Ms. Bittner?
7 years or something. I've been clean the whole 7 years. I even told him I'd take a drug test. I mean, the only thing I do, and you know what, that I smoke weed, that's all I do. I even told him that. How far is Hamilton from here, probably? I don't think
10
I
minutes.
made it to the bridge yet. I don't think so.
No, you're closer to Campbellton than anywhere.
I'm closer to Hamilton than Malone, yes, sir.
I mean, you're in between Campbellton and Old U.S. Road.
Okay, he said I'm between Hamilton and Old U.S. Road. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said, yes, sir. I don't think he can wait a couple hours because he said it's a liability for my car sitting here and stuff. In this case, somebody, if it gets hit or somebody steals.
I'll download my body cam underneath your case number. I'll turn my body
I'll
up.
talk to one of y'all.
Okay.
Could y'all take fingerprints off of it?
That's not my call, and we don't do that. That's something that FDLE has to do. We don't have that capability. We can lift print.
Could they do it there? Because I promise you, it's not mine.
Well, the thing is, you know,
I know it's in my possession, not in possession
Yeah.
and all that, but it's not my stuff, man.
Who you had riding with you that uses methamphetamine?
I don't have nobody. The only person that rides with me is my friend Ben. I don't think he does enough, but I ain't for sure if he does or not. I know his sister. He talks about his sister using it all the time, but
Who's that?
Ben Stewart
Where's he from?
on Grand Ridge or Delwood, yes, sir. But he just rides me to work and stuff. I mean, when sometimes he gets extra jobs or whatever, he needs me to help him, so I help him.
Does Vince use methamphetamine?
Sir?
Does he use methamphetamine?
Not that I know of. I know he says his sister does. That's the only person I have riding my car except for my wife.
How often do you use marijuana?
Every day.
Every day?
Yes, sir. I just out here lately I ain't been doing it.
Where are you getting that from?
Just a friend.
He sell a lot to everybody, or he just help you out with giving you a couple sacks?
Just help me out.
How much marijuana you smoke a week?
Sorry?
You smoke over 20, about an ounce a week, or?
No, sir. Just probably like a quarter a week.
So you smoke an ounce about a month?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm stressed out because my wife, if I'm not there, she's not going to take her medicine, and she's going to end up back in where they take her to all the time. Maybe it was mine, I wouldn't have no problem with it, but it's not.
Well, man, lean right there on your trunk.
All right, man. He's going to talk to one of the neighbors.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
and he's going to call back on this phone. Just come back here to the front of my car, man. I am going to go ahead and put handcuffs on you in the front, okay? Look, don't try to run. Don't think you are. Don't do anything crazy, all right?
Yes, sir.
I normally don't go through this much trouble to try to help somebody out.
I understand. I
But
appreciate
but
it.
I understand that if we tow that car and all that, you probably
I'm not going to be able to get it
won't
back.
have to do anything out, okay? Undo. But you know, yeah, you know, but if it does come down to happen,
Is there any way that y'all can take? I already asked him, but is there any way y'all can take fingerprints of it? Because that's what my father-in-law asked me.
right here's how this works.
I know possession is the law, but it's not mine. That's
Right. Man, whenever I send it off to the FDLE lab, they're obviously going to have to test it to back up what I tested with the field kit, okay, to make sure it's methamphetamine. I can notate on there to try to get latent prints off of it. But I would say the success rate of that is probably less than 5% of us ever getting a legible print off of a baggie or off of a needle or something like that.
54-2.
I'm 10-4.
I'm more worried about my wife because I already know she's not going to stay on her medicine.
Yeah.
How many times you been arrested a lot, or?
No, sir, I don't get in trouble. I used to in the past, but like I said, I lost my kids and stuff.
But back to the marijuana thing. So you smoke marijuana every day.
Yes,
Who are you getting that marijuana from?
Okay.
And look, we can both respect that, okay?
yes, sir, I don't want to get the brand.
Okay, I understand. That's fine.
I just want to ask because, you know, that's part of our job. We try to get the people that, you know, I ain't saying it ruins your life, but, you know, it causes hell on other families and in the community because people that, you know, they might like weed a lot. They might want to go start stealing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't have no money now. I ain't got no weed.
Look, man, I don't think you're a bad guy, okay? It's going to boil down to two things. Either you made a bad decision or you're hanging out with your own people.
I don't hang out.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't know you, so I'm just throwing it. Because, I mean, that got in there some way. And it,
Like I said, I told him earlier, my friend rides with me, but as far as I know, he don't do that stuff.
Okay.
But I ain't for sure. Now it kind of makes me wonder because I know it's not mine or my wife, and we're the only ones that ride in that car. I'm the one that rides in the most than she does.
And you told me earlier that you had your wife go pick somebody up the other day. You remember telling me that?
I said I had to pick up somebody.
You had to pick up somebody the other day.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that the person you're referring to that you don't think
Yes, sir.
uses it? I mean, it's just not common for a methamphetamine user to leave their stuff behind, is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that.
I don't even understand what. I mean, I don't know if somebody planted it in there. I know.
I know it's a lot to take in, okay? And just understand that if I don't get a call back from your father-in-law here in a minute, I'm gonna have to tow the car, and I'm gonna have to have animal control come take your dog. You know, that doesn't mean that they're gonna put the dog down. Okay, that's not what that means.
And put a hold on it.
Right. Put a hold on it. And I understand. Look, I understand.
I don't have no money to get out of jail to go get her later or anything.
Because what's the first thing you told me when I walked up to the window? You said, I've not had money to fix my headlight.
Yes, sir. That tells you there. I don't have money for that stuff too. It has caused me trouble in the past, and I don't need it anymore.
Right.
Man, I can hang out here with him if you want to start on the paperwork. I don't know how you.
Well, I normally don't do this, okay, and I should probably be consistent with everybody. But anyways, it is what it is, man. I'm gonna, because I think we're gonna end up having to tow the car, okay, and I think that's where we're gonna be. Do you want me to hang on to your phone in there in case he calls, or no? I'll tell you what, y'all can just let me know if he.
Yeah, I'll let you know. You want to give him 5 minutes?
Yeah, we'll give him 5 minutes.
Just hang out right there, bud. You can sit down right here in that brush guard right there.
Judge, may I confer with Mr. Davis?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Driggers, you mentioned, we've talked a little bit about your wife, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but what health issue does she have? I think we heard it on the video, but what is it?
She hallucinates and she's just not all there. She flips out and stuff.
Was she using meth at this time?
No, sir.
The friend that you referenced who was the only other person who rides in the car on this video,
Yes.
do you remember him ever having meth in your car?
No, sir.
Do you remember him ever going through that console where this deputy says he found these things?
No, sir.
Okay, did you end up going to jail? Did this deputy take you to jail?
Yes, sir.
At this time, I would move to publish State's Exhibit 6E as an echo, a detention report from the Jackson County Jail for Mr. Driggers.
Give me 1 second, counsel. All right, you can go ahead and publish.
Mr. Driggers, are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that your booking photo on the top right from when you were in jail on this?
Yes, sir.
All right, can we scroll down a little bit? Okay. In the middle of this page on the right side where that mouse is moving around, you see a book date and a release date.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for the record, those are February 9th and February 10th. Are those the days that you were in jail initially on this?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Driggers, after this arrest, you remember this case coming into the court system and you having to resolve it in court.
Yes, sir.
Specifically, do you remember entering a plea to some of these charges?
I believe I did. Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recall doing something called pretrial intervention or pretrial diversion?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. Why did you plea and enter into that program if you're telling the jury that these things weren't in your car and they weren't yours?
'Cause I knew nobody was going to believe it.
I'm sorry?
I knew nobody was going to believe it. That
Why?
wasn't my stuff.
Why did you feel like no one was going to believe it?
Because he's a cop.
Did you have a lawyer?
No, sir. I couldn't afford one.
That's all I have, Judge.
Mr. Davis, do you want that up?
No, you can remove that, please. Sorry, Inspector can.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Good morning, Mr. Driggers.
Good morning.
I have just a couple of questions for you. Back on February 9th, the day on this video, did you say you weren't coming or going from work when you were pulled over, were you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you took your dog to work with you?
Yes, sir. It was only for like an hour. I only had to work an hour.
Okay. And where were you working at the time?
A little gas station.
Okay.
I think it's called Kimmy's.
I guess you don't
And
work there
Campbellton.
anymore?
No, sir.
Okay. You working anywhere now?
Yes, sir.
So you agreed that, so you did have a headlight out that night, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when Mr. Williams was asking you some questions, you said at the time you had no marijuana in the car, correct?
No, sir.
And there was a little container or something, but you had forgotten about that?
Yes, sir.
And that had previously contained marijuana?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Mr. Williams also asked you if you had smoked in the car recently, and you told him it had been at least a month,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you watch the video? Were you paying attention when it was playing?
Yes, sir.
And did you hear when you said that you had smoked in the car a few days ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it was probably, would you agree
Probably what
that?
I said in the video, probably. Probably what I had said in the video, probably, because I ain't reviewed none of this stuff.
Okay. So we should trust what you said on the video more than what you said here today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Closer in time. It
It's
was
been
happening,
quite a-
memory's much fresher then, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because you also said you were using marijuana every day at that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you still using marijuana every day?
Sometimes.
Okay. Have you used marijuana today?
No, sir.
Yesterday?
Yes, sir.
What time did you use marijuana yesterday?
In the afternoon.
Okay. But you don't think that's affecting you now?
No, sir.
And you heard the other officer asking you about who you have riding around with you that uses meth, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you did mention somebody else?
Yes, sir.
And you've also filed a civil suit in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's still ongoing?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to back up just a little bit. I know we watched two videos, and there were two deputies that were on scene. The original deputy that pulled you over, and then another one showed up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, and I thought you said that the other deputy was already there when you got out of your car. Did I hear that correctly? Is that right?
That's what I had said, but I ain't really for sure. It might have been a couple minutes before you arrived. I don't really remember too good, but I know I wasn't waiting outside very long before he showed up because he was already searching my car.
Okay. But so you can't remember if he was there when the search started or not?
No, sir.
Okay. And the deputy that ended up arresting you, he put the handcuffs on in front, correct?
Yes, sir.
No further questions.
Mr. Williams, any follow-up?
Mr. Davis asked you some questions about marijuana use the other day and that. Of course, you remember that a moment ago, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've followed up and you said that the video was closer in time, so what you said on there would be more accurate for that kind of thing, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, but you said here in court that meth wasn't yours, that syringe and that meth was not yours, right?
It wasn't mine.
It wasn't in your console?
They found it in the car, but it ain't mine. It wasn't mine.
And you said the same thing on the video, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've admitted that you used marijuana today here in this courtroom. You've admitted you've used it even recently, the other day, right?
Yes, sir.
And you say on the video back then that you use it regularly, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, why are you choosing to participate in a civil suit? Why are you suing the sheriff's office on this?
Because it cost me a lot of emotional stress, and it cost me money that I went ahead and paid for all my fines and stuff. I paid it all off and trying to get everything taken care of, and I figured that somebody should give me back what I lost.
Okay, that's all.
Mr. Davis, anything else?
Yes, sir.
You want to keep Mr. Driggers subject to recall?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Driggers, you are not to talk about your testimony here today or the questions that were asked of you today. You're still under the supervision of the court until this case is over in case the state or the defense needs to talk with you again. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all.
Who would the state like to call next?
Trooper Maloney.
Trooper Maloney. Trooper, will you raise your right hand?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You may be seated. Thank you, Trooper. Mr. Maloney, if you will make sure that you speak loud enough so that our jury who is sitting out here today can hear you. In fact, everybody needs to be able to hear you that's in the courtroom, and it's tough sometimes with these masks on, as you know. Second thing is, if you hear an objection, pause your testimony, and I'll instruct you how to proceed, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams?
All right. Good morning, Trooper. Would you state your name for the record?
Christopher Maloney.
And how are you employed?
I am a law enforcement officer. I'm a state trooper with Florida Highway Patrol
How long have you been with the Highway Patrol?
since November of 2018.
Okay. And did you previously work with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the defendant, Zachary Wester?
Yes, sir.
Did you work with him while you were employed at the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall serving as a backup deputy for him for the arrest of a Mr. Richard Driggers in February, specifically February 9th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, as backup deputy for that, what was your role? What were you doing?
During that traffic stop, I stood back with Mr. Driggers while Officer Wester conducted his search of the vehicle. And
Did you participate at all in the search of that vehicle?
no, sir.
We have it's previously been introduced, we have a body camera video from your role in this case. Was it activated and on from beginning to end?
Yes, sir.
And why was that?
The policy at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
All right, that's all, Judge.
Mr. Davis?
Morning, Trooper.
Good morning.
Just a couple of questions for you. So you were on the scene of this search,
Yes, sir.
and did you see Mr. Wester plant any evidence in the car?
No, sir.
Did you see him carry over anything to the car that looked suspicious to you?
No, sir.
Did any red flags pop up in your mind while you were on the side of that road?
No, sir.
Nothing unusual about that stop?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Any follow-up, Mr. Williams?
Sir. Trooper, did you see Deputy Wester find any drugs in that car?
He brought back some.
That wasn't my question. Did you see him find any
No, sir.
drugs in that car?
No, sir.
You weren't with him when he allegedly found those, were you?
No, sir. I was with Mr. Driggers.
Okay, that's all, Judge.
Mr. Davis, you done?
I'm done, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Maloney, subject to recall state?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Maloney, you may be recalled again if the state or defense needs you in this case. Please don't talk about your testimony. Please don't talk about what questions you were asked with anybody until this case is over. And also, please don't view this case on the YouTube channel. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. State, who would you like to call next?
Joshua Clenney.
Okay. Let's stop real quick, sidebar. All right, Mr. Bailiff, we'll go ahead and get Clenney. Thank you. Mr. Clenney, will you raise your right hand for me, sir?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Clenney, you can sit down. Thank you, sir. A couple things. The jury is out sitting where the audience normally is out there. That's who you're speaking to today. Please make sure that you speak up loud enough and into the mic that everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Second thing is, if you hear an objection, pause your testimony. Let me hear what the objection is, and I'll instruct you on how to proceed, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Would you state your name for the record?
Joshua Clenney.
Mr. Clenney, do you remember getting pulled over by a sheriff's deputy here in Jackson County on March 14th, 2018?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you remember where you were headed when you got pulled over?
I was headed to the hospital to pick my girlfriend up. She was in the hospital at the time.
And suffice it to say, was there a lot on your mind at that time?
Yes, sir, there was.
What car were you driving?
I was driving a Ford F-150, a red Ford F-150.
Whose car was it?
It was my father's truck.
And how often did you drive it?
Occasionally. I mean, as much as anybody would drive a vehicle, you know, not every day, but every other day.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Everybody's different, so you're
Yeah.
saying every other day?
Every other day, you know.
Now, were you by yourself or were you alone when you were pulled over?
I was by myself.
Tell me how it is that you recall getting pulled over by the deputy.
I was headed down what they would call Bear Paw over there, and I passed Deputy Wester. He turned around as I passed him, and he fell in behind me. And as he did, I pulled. As you go down to the Bear Paw, there's a little spot there that where tubers and stuff put in right there at the river. I pulled down to that spot where I figured it'd be a public spot, and that's where I pulled into.
Did he end up making contact with you and speaking with you?
Yes, he did.
What did he tell you the reason for him stopping you was?
If I can recall right, I think it was a seatbelt.
Now, do you remember whether or not you had your seatbelt on?
I don't think I did.
Okay. At some point, did he tell you that there was going to be more going on than just a seatbelt violation? There was more to the stop?
No, not at the time. He asked could he search the vehicle, and I gave him permission to.
Okay. Do you remember why it was, or did he tell you why it was he was asking to search the vehicle?
I don't recall why.
Well, why'd you agree?
Because there was nothing in the vehicle at the time. I had no reason to hide anything.
Now, at that point, was he the only deputy on scene?
At first he was.
Do you remember another one coming up later on?
Yes, sir, I do.
Right? Judge, at this time I'd move to publish State's Exhibit 7F, as in Frank. A disc of a body camera video related to Joshua Clenney.
Any instruction needs to be given, counsel?
No, sir.
All right, we'll go ahead and publish 7F.
Be out with 2554.
You ever been arrested for anything before? Yeah. Criminal mischief charge.
Nothing besides that, though?
Criminal or burglary of a structure and criminal mischief, I think is what they put it as.
Yeah, that's what you're on probation for?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Telling him, going to get my wife out of surgery. I know that sounds insane. I showed him the text and all that.
All right. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown. He gave me consent to search vehicle. I pulled behind him down there. He pulled in here because he said he knew I was gonna pull him over.
Yeah, I seen him start to go over. I mean,
And he
there ain't no
he
point
pulled in
sitting
here.
beside the road. And plus, my
Yeah.
Uncle John did own this. I don't know if he owns it now or not.
He's on probation, doesn't have a driver's license. Anyways, I'm gonna do the consent to the search. If you don't mind hanging out with him, sorry.
Don't mind at all. Where's your shirt?
That's in there. I just about to ask it. I was
gonna say, it's getting a little chilly now.
It's a little chill. Well, if you look in there, you see I had on 15 layers of clothes.
I was gonna say, yeah.
What you want, man?
That blue striped one, if you don't mind. See, I already had the long johns on. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. There, her surgery was at 6 o'clock. I've been at the hospital all damn day. I had to go up there. The only reason I left is because I had to go get my wallet laying right over there.
So, you said your dad, you using your dad's truck?
That's my dad's truck.
You don't know why the tag's coming back to a
No,
truck
like I
tag?
said, I ain't been back in town, but probably about 3 weeks or so.
Where you been out of town?
I work in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah, I work in Charleston.
You smoke weed or anything, man?
I have. My girl does. I ain't gonna lie about that. Ain't no use in it. My girl smokes.
Y'all smoking here though?
In the truck?
Yeah.
She goes out there sometimes.
Just the faint odor is why
I'm about to say, it probably does because my dad don't allow that shit in the house. You know what I mean? He don't like that shit, so she probably does go out there to the truck and smoke.
So y'all live with your dad?
Yeah, she just moved in with me because we was having some problems with my youngin' over there with her mom. Her mom was trying to take my youngin' from me, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it just wasn't working out, so I moved her in with me. And God behold, gotta have sir. And not only this, next week.
10-4.
Next week she's gotta go get 6 teeth pulled out.
Dang,
Oof.
All of her wisdom teeth and 2 more.
Wow, that's gotta hurt. How old is she?
She ain't but 23, and
Oof.
she just had pancreatitis. She died like 3 times. Damn doctor went in there for what was it, gallstones or something like that. Went in there to cut her to get the stones out. He goes in there, cuts the wrong place. They ain't even no stones to start with. It starts pancreatitis. When I got to the hospital, there was 5 buckets like this right here, full of black, just pure black.
Ooh. She doing okay now though?
No, she just come out of surgery. They said there was a cyst on her uterus, and I'm sorry.
No, you're all right.
There was a cyst on her uterus, and they went in there and said the uterus was
Go ahead,
fine,
Billy. I'm 10-12 on the
and they cut
traffic
out a
stop.
mass.
Okay.
What you use a cut straw for, man?
I don't use no cut.
You don't use a cut straw. Anybody that rides in the vehicle use a cut straw? Or
Hell, my dad rides with about 5 or 6 different workers any at a given time.
And since we're getting odor of marijuana, it's now turned into a probable cause search of the vehicle, okay?
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I got you. I got you, man. You can search it.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. We in that way?
25-28, we're 10-4.
Look, man, like I tell everybody, I treat you with respect. If you give me a reason
talk
Yeah,
to, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand that.
Here, come back over here for
Oh,
me,
I'm
okay?
sorry, man.
You all right? Or you ain't got to come across the water.
Go
You're
stay
fine.
right here at the front.
Yes, sir, please.
Hey, you lights, you. Actually, that upsets me that damn straw's in there, to be dead honest with you. That's that bullshit right there.
Man, come on, dude. Under your seat.
Bubba, I don't.
Hold on. All right, you're detained at this time, okay?
Yes, I understand. Bubba, I didn't have that. I'm being serious. I would never lie to you. I don't lie. That's not mine. You can fingerprint it. Bubba, I would never lie to you. I was dead honest with you with everything. I don't.
Look, at this point, I'm not going to ask you any questions until I read you your rights, okay? Let me finish my vehicle search.
Bubba, this will violate me on everything. That is not mine, Bubba. Sir, that's not mine. I didn't put that shit there.
Okay, this is his traffic stop. I'm just here as
Bubba, I
his
didn't
secondary unit,
know
okay?
that was there.
Okay.
I didn't put that there. And I've been just as honest with you with everything in the whole world. Bubba, this will violate my probation. My wife will freaking is up there. She don't have nowhere to live. I have a kid. There's no way there's just no way.
So when I was behind you, you pulled in here, you didn't throw anything under your
No,
seat?
sir, I promise on Jesus and everything else. I did not put that under there. I don't even do that. You can drug test me right now.
What do you think this is?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I ain't got no damn idea what it is. You can drug test me on everything there is right now, I promise. Right here. I don't do that shit. I ain't got no clue what that is. I would never lie to you, sir.
All right, look, man. If it turns blue, it does test presenting positive for methamphetamine, okay?
I don't mess with that shit.
All right. See the blue mark there from where I swabbed it? So at this time, it did field test presenting positive for methamphetamine. Okay?
I didn't do that. Y'all can P-test me or anything there is. I didn't do that, sir. You know I didn't put that under there, man. I didn't put that under there. I would have never done that to you. Is there any way we could work something out? I didn't do that. Who's that?
I was about to ask you, you know who that is?
I have no clue who that is, actually. That's not right there. That's not right, man. I didn't do that. I'm sorry, sir. I would never lie to you. I'm the most honest person there is in this whole world.
All right, man. I'm going to read you your rights, okay? All right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him or her with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you without cost for any questioning if you so desire. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the absolute right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering questions at any time
Go ahead,
before you
Bill.
talk to a lawyer. Do you understand that? Okay. Do you understand each of those
What-
rights I just read to
Do
you?
what?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Have you previously requested myself or Sergeant Carlburg to speak to an attorney
Yeah, they're
today
mine.
on this traffic stop?
No.
Okay. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to me now about what I found in the vehicle?
Yes, I do in private.
All right. Or in private?
Yeah, if you don't
Oh,
mind,
cool.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, just tell them to put them in my box. All right. Bye. How you been?
You gave consent to search the vehicle.
That's good. Staying busy up here or down?
Now, Mr. Clenney, at this point, you and that deputy there, Deputy Wester, are having a conversation over by that patrol car, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, what are you telling him?
I'm just scared and distraught at this time right here. I really don't know what's going on at this point. I'm probably just, from what I can recall, I'm just pleading him to, I'm trying to explain to him that it wasn't mine.
If he read your rights and you said you wanted to talk to him about it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. Why did you tell him that you wanted to speak to him but in private and then you guys went over there?
I felt ambushed. I felt scared. I've never been in a situation as that where somebody would plant drugs in my truck.
Did you feel more comfortable speaking to one of them one-on-one rather than all
I
the
really
cops
did.
there?
Yes,
Sorry?
sir, I really did.
Okay. While you're over here talking with him, do you ever tell him that, yeah, those drugs were there and you knew they were there?
No, sir, I didn't, because they were not there.
Now, it's referenced here on the video that you were on probation at that time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And, I mean, obviously then you've been in trouble before, correct?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, and you've been convicted of misdemeanor crimes of dishonesty 3 times, correct?
Correct.
All right. Ms. Bittner, would you resume the video, please?
Where you need to be.
One day further up under there.
410-4. 25-28. $25.28. $25.54 has 1 detained. I know, mosquitoes are bad. Especially probably down here where it's always wet. Yeah, like almost a year depending.
He's on probation. Turn around on the accelerator, pulled in here. He was going to keep going right there. When I hit my siren, he pulled off right here beside the tree. He gave consent to search. And this little baggie with the meth in it was all the way back up under, and I hadn't been searching the vehicle, it was all the way back under the driver's seat, and there was a cut straw right there in the seam where the seat and the floorboard meet. My camera's on. What's his name? I got it right there. Joshua Clenney, C-L-E-N.
Why does that name ring a bell?
He's on probation right now for burglary of an occupied dwelling. I bet you that's
Foy Clenney. Yes.
Expired for a while. Well, the tag don't even belong on the vehicle, man. It's assigned to a damn trailer. He doesn't have a driver's license or anything like that. See, well, let me pause this so me and you can talk. For policy.
All right, Mr. Clenney, you mentioned on that video and here in court that you know that baggie of meth wasn't in that truck, correct?
It was not in that truck.
Well, how is it that you know?
Because I just know in my heart I don't do meth, and neither does nobody I hang around. He was the last person in my truck, and it wasn't in there before he left.
Well, and let me ask it this way. Do you remember, you said it was a car that you drive at least every other day, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it a truck that you had any reason to go through or clean or look under things?
My truck stays mostly clean, and I had no reason to do that, and I don't bother with drugs to start with, and the drugs were not in my truck, sir, until he went in there last.
That's all, Judge.
Mr. Davis? Good morning, Mr. Clenney.
Good morning, sir.
Just a couple questions for you. You said, so this was your father's truck?
Yes, sir.
And he had other people in and out of that truck every other day, very often?
Well, we do work for the churches and stuff throughout town, so it wasn't unusual to have somebody, a worker, you know, from the church or something with us at times. I mean, you know.
Okay. Because you said that when Mr. Williams asked you, you said Dad has 5 or 6 riders at any time. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long had your father owned that truck at that time?
I can't recall it at this time. I can't recall, sir. It's been a long time.
Okay. It wasn't a new truck to
No,
him.
sir. It's not. No, sir. It's not a brand new truck.
Okay. And I wasn't saying it was a brand new truck in 2018 or anything. I'm just saying it wasn't new when you got pulled over.
No, sir.
Okay. Your dad had had it for a while.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you were on probation at the time of that stop.
Yes, sir.
And obviously another arrest would be a violation of your probation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you ended up entering a plea in this case, though, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, when you went to, never mind. Strike that. And you've also filed a civil suit, correct?
Yes, sir.
And also in the video, when you're talking with the deputy, after he's found the methamphetamine, you tell him it's not yours and you're the most honest person in the world, correct?
I said that.
Okay. But you've also been convicted of 3 crimes of dishonesty, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Do you recall when those crimes of dishonesty were? How long ago?
2010, 2011. I think it was somewhere around that time.
All right. It's 2021 now, and the date of this was in 2018, correct?
Yes, sir.
It was when you lived in a different state, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, why are you participating in this civil suit? Why did you sue the sheriff's office?
Because their officer planted drugs in my vehicle illegally.
And why did you enter a plea on this case?
At the time, I felt I had no choice at the time, and I was told by my probation officer at the time that he would get me rehab if I would enter the guilty plea. And at the time, I had no choice, sir.
All right. Were you concerned because you were on probation? Were you concerned about getting a worse consequence if you fought it in the court system?
Yes, I was.
Were you concerned about going to prison?
I was concerned that they would choose an officer's word over mine any day of the week.
That's all, Judge.
Any follow-up, Mr. Davis?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Clenney, you're still subject to being recalled in this case. If you don't mind, do not talk about your testimony outside of this courtroom. Don't talk about the questions you were asked, and don't do anything with respect to watching this trial on television or the media. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good luck to you. State, would you like to try to get one more in this morning, or you want to go ahead and take our lunch break?
Yes, sir. I can get Deputy Carlburg.
All right, let's go ahead and do Deputy Carlburg. Deputy Carlburg, will you raise your right hand, sir?
solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Deputy, you can sit down. Thank you, sir. Deputy Carlburg, the folks out here today are going to be our jury, so you need to speak loud enough that all these folks can hear you. If you hear an objection, pause your testimony, and I'll instruct you how to proceed, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Williams.
All right, good morning. Would you state your name for the record?
David Larry Carlburg.
And how are you employed?
Oh, sorry. I'm a patrol sergeant with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked with the sheriff's office?
Approximately 12 and a half years.
Do you know the defendant, Zachary Wester?
I do.
Do you recall working with him when he was a deputy with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you remember serving as a backup deputy on a stop that Mr. Wester made on a Joshua Clenney on March 14th, 2018?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and were you basically a backup deputy for Wester?
Yes, it was.
All right. And did you have your body-worn camera, your body camera activated during the stop?
Yes, I did.
From the beginning to the end?
I believe I interrupted it a couple times.
Let me ask you this. Let's start with the first part. Do you recall having it on as you arrived on scene?
Yes.
Okay. And where the video ends, which is already an item of evidence, why is it that you ended it there?
I believe one of the investigators, Investigator Allen, had showed up, and we were talking in a manner unrelated to the traffic stop.
Okay. Had the search of Mr. Clenney's car already occurred at the time that you turned it off?
Yes.
Okay. Did you participate in the search of Mr. Clenney's truck in any way?
No.
I want to ask you a brief couple of questions just on report writing. When a deputy writes a report, is there typically another member of law enforcement who also signs off on it after that deputy swears to the facts is true and accurate?
A report or
Arrest report, yes, sir.
a complaint?
Okay, yes, sir, and a complaint.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Judge, I'd move to publish at this time States Exhibit 6A, an affidavit of complaint related to Richard Driggers.
Give me 1 second, counsel. Give me the number again if you don't mind, counsel.
6A, it's an alpha.
All right, 6A will be published. Should it be pulling, ma'am? See if she can unplug and then plug back in if you don't mind, ma'am. Counsel, you can either get it in without publishing, or we can bring him back after lunch and figure out the issue. What do you want to do?
I'd like to show it to him and just get it in without publishing it on the screen.
Okay, that's fine.
Just a moment, I'll pull the hard copy.
Jury, the document has been introduced and admitted into evidence. Typically, when I say publish, it means show the jury the document. You will have access to this document throughout the trial, okay? So even when you deliberate, you'll be able to look at the document we're talking about.
All right, sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked and entered as Exhibit 6A. It's an affidavit complaint related to the arrest of Richard Driggers. I'm going to show you page 2 of this 2-page document. You can just review it yourself. I'll direct your attention to the bottom half of the page. Let me know when you viewed that, specifically the signature blocks. Bottom half of that page. Do you see those?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you recognize and see your signature on that report?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, your signature's on it, but you didn't author that report, correct?
Correct.
All right. Why is it on there?
Because I signed the other portion of it to swear and attest that the writer says that it's inaccurate.
Okay. And who is the writer for this report?
Deputy Wester?
Okay. Now, his signature is not on that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But nonetheless, you can say that he was the writer, correct?
Yes.
And you wouldn't have signed documenting that he swore to it if he wasn't the writer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's all, Judge. Nancy, back?
Mr. Davis?
No questions.
Mr. Carl,
I'm sorry. No.
you want questions?
Have a moment. Speak with Mr. Williams real quick.
Yep.
Oh, Great. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Morning, Sergeant.
Morning, sir.
I had to double check the clock too, just to make sure it was morning. So you were on the stop with Mr. Clenney, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that was the video that we saw earlier while Mr. Clenney was in here, not you.
Okay.
And that would have been from your body camera, correct?
If that was from a body camera, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you were there also and saw Mr. Wester searching the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you see anything unusual about the way that he was conducting that search?
No.
Were there any red flags at all about that whole situation?
No.
Okay. And how long have you worked in law enforcement here in Jackson County?
Total law enforcement, about 13 and a half years.
Okay. And is that all here in Jackson County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would you say that your department could use some more funding? The sheriff's department?
I believe all law enforcement, yes, sir.
Okay. Does it always seem like you guys always need something else that you can't afford to get?
I would imagine so, yes.
Okay. And you said, so you're the sergeant of the patrol division, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you review lots of reports, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And As you're reviewing lots of these reports, do you see a lot of reports about methamphetamine?
I see some, yes, sir.
Okay. Would you say that methamphetamine is a problem here in Jackson County
Yes,
to this day?
yes,
And I know, since you're the sergeant, you would probably have to sometimes talk to the patrol deputies about some policy issues from time to time, correct?
correct.
Now, was the way that the sheriff's office was set up, if somebody violated a policy, were they immediately written up and sent to internal affairs?
No,
If somebody violated a departmental policy, or would violations of departmental policy happen from time to time?
I would imagine they would, yes, sir.
Okay. And would you say that the deputies that are on the road are overworked and underpaid?
Well, I don't know about them. I'm fine.
Okay. Do you have deputies that leave the Jackson County Sheriff's Office to go to other departments for better pay?
If they leave us, yes, sir.
And you said that this particular stop with Mr. Clenney, there was nothing unusual, nothing throwing up any red flags to you about that stop?
No, sir.
Okay. Even Mr. Clenney claiming that the drugs weren't his?
That's not unusual.
Okay. Does that happen on a lot of stops where people say, that's not mine?
It happens on some, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Williams?
It's not uncommon for a lot of people to admit the drugs are theirs too, roadside, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Mr. Davis asked you at the beginning of the questions, his questions, and then readdressed it at the end, about your observations of the defendant and his searching of Mr. Clenney's truck, correct?
correct.
Okay, he asked you, were there any red flags, and you answered no. But you didn't actually see the defendant inside the truck and see the areas he was searching or see the defendant find any meth, did you?
No,
That's because you were back where your camera shows you to be, correct?
correct.
And he had his gloves on during that search, didn't he? His search gloves.
I believe so, yes, sir.
That's all.
Mr. Davis?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Carlburg, appreciate you being here. You still are under the supervision of the court till this case is over, as you may be recalled as a witness in this case by either the state or the defense. Please refrain from speaking with anybody about what you heard and saw in this courtroom today, and do not do anything as far as watching the progress of this case that would jeopardize your testimony in the future. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Your
Good
Honor.
luck to you. All right, jury, this is a great time to take our lunch break. It is 11:50. Our process is going to be like yesterday, where you're going to leave your blue notebooks in your chairs. You're going to wear your badges. You're not going to talk with anybody about this case, even each other. You're not going to do any research with respect to this case. You're not going to look up names, information, maps, et cetera, having to do with this case. Stay away from any sort of media or newspaper reporting on this case. You are only to consider the evidence and testimony that you are getting in this courtroom. That makes sure that the system that we're under works appropriately and properly for both the state and the defense in this case. It is 11:50. I'm going to ask that you be back in the jury room at 1:05. If you'll gather and be back in the jury room at 1:05, that's an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to take care of some technical issues we need to take care of and get you ready for the afternoon session.